been focused all year on God intentionally because there's so many distractions happening in the world today, so many things that are screaming for our attention. It has to be a dedicated decision we make in our hearts and minds. Hey, my attention's got to be focused on God. My attention's got to be focused on friends. My attention's got to be focused on all of these things that are happening around us in our life. But there hasn't been a month that's probably been as great or as equally important in our life, other than our faith in God, than having our focus on our families. We learned a couple of things. Week 1, we learned that if you want to have a healthy family, you better learn the word forgiveness, and you better be ready to practice it often inside your house. Spouses often have to forgive each other. Let me tell you something, parents. I know you're doing the best that you can to raise your kids, but every now and then, there's going to have to be the opportunity where you've got to own some ownership, where you blew it as a parent, and your child has to be able to understand forgiveness is allowed for you as well. Forgiveness is important, and healthy families practice forgiveness often. We learned the second week that one of the reasons we have to forgive each other so much is because we can't get control of our mouth. And sometimes in a bad moment, a bad emotional moment of compromise, my mouth throws something out in anger, frustration that I can't pull back in. And we learned that our words matter. And our children in our household are like little voice recorders recording everything you're saying today. And it won't be much longer before they'll hit play and you'll hear your words coming out of their mouth. So guard yourself with the words that you speak. Last week, we learned that there's accidents that happen every day. But if you're going to have a strong family isn't an accident. It's not a product of wishful thinking and fingers crossed and just hopes and dreams and rainbows that your family's going to be strong. You've got to make intentional decisions. You've got to have intentional conversations, intentional directions in your house if you intend to have a strong family underneath the roof that God's given to you for you to raise your lover, your spouse, your loved ones, whatever it is. You better have a strong intention because it's not going to be accidentally a godly family or accidentally a close family or accidentally a successful family. Those have to be decisions you made a long time ago. Today, in Deuteronomy chapter number 6, verses 6 and 7, we're going to learn a very good truth that a lot of people don't want to talk about. And it's summed up in one statement if I had to title this sermon: leave something worth leaving. Say that with me. Leave something worth leaving. A lot of us are working on things that we want to take care of our families so that we're not a financial burden should my time on this earth come to an end. We try to invest in life insurance policies or make sure that the home that we're raising our children in to provide for them and protect them is a safe spot for my kids. Or they can have anything that I've worked so hard to be able to obtain. If something should happen to me, I didn't leave my wife and my children empty-handed. But there's a lot of stuff that we are leaving behind that nobody's interested in. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We're working our whole lives to get together our treasures, our hobbies, the things that interest us. And then when we go into eternity, do you know what our family does with our most valuables? They put it on a table outside with a sign that says for a quarter in a yard sale, and they liquidate all that stuff off. And we realize that all of this stuff that we found was invaluable wasn't worth it, not to the people we left it to. So how do I leave something that was worth it, that nobody's ever going to forget about and they're going to hold on to? The answer is found in Deuteronomy chapter number 6. What book are you in? What chapter are you in? 6. Verse 6. Now before I read it, understand what's happening. The people want to be pleasing to God. So God wrote Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, the first 5 books of your Bible. And the whole purpose was, these are God's expectations. If you truly want to know who God is, He's in these books. If you want to know how to live for God, it's written in these books. And if you want to make sure that you have a life that pleases God, obey these books. So here we are in Deuteronomy chapter 6, after they've had a chance to read what God expects for them in morality and in integrity and worship and in faithfulness. Things we've talked about every week when you're sitting in this church. In Deuteronomy 6, it says this: all of these words, everything you hear in this church on Sunday morning that's preached from this book, every chapter, every verse, all of these words, I have commanded you today to write them in your, what's the last word in the verse? Everything, all of these words, I've commanded you this day shall be in thine. Say it one more time. Number 1, if I've got 3 points and we're going to run right through them, I want you to understand this. First and foremost, you need to understand that what you love is what you will live. What you love is how you will live. What you love is who you will be that is living this life. What you love. Pause. I want to leave that right there for just a moment. Do you understand that in Deuteronomy 6, verse number 7, we have the whole climax of the verse? Kids are important, and I'll read it in a moment. But before it even talks about my children, before it even talks about my house, before it talks about my spouse, before it says anything, it says, hey, Matt, if these words matter, the only way you're going to be able to prove to me they matter is you better take these words and you better hide them in your, what was the word? You see, what's on the inside of you eventually comes out into the people that are around you. It is hard for you to pass on a love for God when you don't possess a love for God. It's hard for you to have something that you want in your home when it doesn't exist in your heart. And so the very first point today in verse number 6 was this. You've got the Bible. God told you to be a man that's worth being followed. You have plenty of examples of what kind of man not to be. God said, be this guy. God said, be this kind of mom whose children rise up and call her blessed. Be a godly woman. Be a favorable woman. Be a person of peace. Blessed are those peacemakers. That can't just exist if it doesn't happen first in your heart. You're never going to have a house full of peace if you don't have a heart full of peace. You're not going to have a house full of passion and love if you don't have a heart full of passion and love. You will live what you love first in your heart. That's why the Bible said this. What you're hearing today, you take it and you tuck it down into your heart, because before you can go tell it something to your kids, we got enough hypocrites out there telling all the kids, do what I say, not what I do. They've had plenty of examples where you've blown it. They've seen plenty of examples of other people blowing it. The church, anytime a preacher screws up or messes up, it's everywhere you can possibly imagine. Aha! We saw that another human behaved like a human being. That's why your attention and your focus can't be, I want to raise my kids to be like Pastor Matt. Don't you do that. Pastor Matt has fault. Pastor Matt has failures. Pastor Matt has blown it. Pastor Matt has a past. Pastor Matt has a history. I have secrets. I have things that have been buried deep underneath the blood of Jesus Christ. You do not need to model your children after their pastor. You need to model your children after their Savior who loved them and died on the cross for them. But before you introduce them to Jesus, you better know Jesus in your heart and in your life. Maybe you're a parent this morning that came forward and said, my kid's so valuable to me. I want to understand, God, thank you for giving me this kid. But you've never opened up your own heart and life to say, Lord, I'm the sinner. I'm the sinner. You died for me. God, can you forgive me? It doesn't matter if you're a mom or dad. It doesn't matter if you're a child. It doesn't matter if you're in your teens. It doesn't matter if you're the wisest person in the room with the whitest hair on the top of your head. You can't pass Jesus down to somebody if you don't possess him first. So you will live what you love. Number 2, so we're running right through this. Let's keep reading the Bible. Verse number 6, these words which I have commanded unto thee this day, they need to be in your heart. Verse 7, and once those words are hidden down into your heart, you're going to teach them diligently unto thy, what's the next word? Do better, church. It's child dedication day. Once those words are hidden in your heart, you're going to teach them, not every now and then, not just on Sunday mornings. You're going to teach them diligently unto your who? Children. Well, how do I do that, preacher? Keep reading the verse. The Bible has all the answers. You'll do it by how you talk to them every day. You'll teach your children how you talk to them when you're sitting down in your house. Talk to your kids. When you lay down in the bed, talk to your kids. When you wake up in the morning, talk to your kids. And one of the conversations, we tell them, don't talk to strangers. Don't jump in white vans that are offering you free candy. Don't do any kind of crazy thing like become an Alabama fan. All right, I got him. Don't do these things that are out there on the other side. Don't do that. No. We teach them all these things about look both ways before you cross the road. Put a seatbelt on before the car goes into gear. All of these rules to protect our children, to take care of our children. And then we never talk to them about their eternity. The Bible said this right here's what he's telling you. He says, hey, Matt, do you know what you just said? What you love is how you're going to live. Well, church, here's something you need to learn today. How you live is what they're going to learn. How you live your life every day. You've got sponges soaking up every drop of it that you pour out of you. Some of you, it's so full of bitterness, anger, and hurt where you've been wronged. And I'm not belittling any of that. Where somebody lied, cheated, or talked bad about you. And so now you've become a hard person. And every word that comes out of your mouth is harsh. Your kids sucking it up. Listen to me. If you model forgiveness in your home, your children are going to grow up knowing how to forgive. Did you hear me, church? Yes or no? If you're that healthy family that's learning how to practice forgiveness in your house, you are teaching children how to forgive. However, if you work up and your words are always harsh, your words are always mean, then your children are also going to speak mean, harsh words to the people that are around them in their life. If church is an option for you, it'll be optional for them. If God is real to you, and I mean real to you, not just a name you call out every now and then occasionally when you pray for your food, but if it's a practice of your life, a desire of your heart, the passion of your home, you will raise your children in a way that they too can know the God who is very, very real to you. I've got a picture here. I'm going to show it to you. A couple of years ago, my daughter hit the magical age of 16. Anybody else in here ever raised a 16-year-old? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. At 16, they can't wait to start learning how to. Okay, well, here's my one and only. There's my Maddie. Sitting behind the steering wheel, 16 years old, in her Bucky's britches. All right, she's ready to go, okay? Now, she looks calm, eyes fixated on the road, seatbelt across her shoulder, hands at 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, however you want to put it out there on the board. I mean, if you're looking at this picture, you think she's doing a great job. What this picture doesn't tell you is the condition of the passengers. Next slide, please. There we are, all right? Real time, real life photo. Maddie had just stopped at a red light and started going again, and she said out of her mouth, "Did I do good, Dad?" And I want you to look at Alex's face in the back of that seat. I told Maddie, "Baby, I'm just taking a picture to send you of your mama." This was the picture where I was sending her mama. Pray like you ain't never prayed before, woman. We're trying to teach my child how to drive. Do you know what I didn't do? I didn't say, "Happy birthday, baby. Here's the keys. Catch, TJ. Good luck. You'll figure it out." And you're an idiot if you did that to your 16-year-old, especially if they're driving your car. All right, out there. You didn't say, "Well, I hope you learn." Or today's motto of "live and learn." You'd be a moron. There's not a person in the church that said, wait. You let your 15, just turned 16-year-old child who still can't find the laundry basket or knows how to hit on the dishwasher or knows how to put the soap back on the shower sleeve where they got it from the beginning. You're handing them a vehicle that has the ability to do 65, 75, 80 miles an hour. And you told them, "Well, I hope it works out for your best." No, you didn't do that. You had a prayer life like the preacher did for a little while you were riding beside your teenager in a car. How many of you personally taught your teenager how to drive? Let me see your hand. Hold them up high. How many of you let the other person teach your teenager how to drive? Show your hands. All right, there you go. Absolutely. You taught them. You showed them how to slow down. You showed them how to speed up. Maddie got wise. TJ, chuck me those keys again, please. Thank you, sir. Maddie got wise. When she comes home from college and we get to ride together, Maddie will always be like, "Daddy, you drive." You bet, you're right. Absolutely. Give me those keys, honey. Why? Because I'm done with that prayer season in my life. All right, there we are. I started off a young, sexy man, and then I taught my 16-year-old how to drive. This is what happened to me, all right, after it was over with. No, listen. How I'm living my life, she's going to learn how to do in her life. So if I'm not willing to hand her the keys to my car on something that could be so serious and so dangerous to her, why in the world would I let her walk out the door and say, "I hope your faith is figured out. I hope you figure your values out. Hey, morality, live and learn." Ladies and gentlemen, don't you wish somebody else would have told you a little bit more before some of those scars you have on your life today you didn't have to have on your life today? Don't you wish somebody else would have had a little bit more teaching and a little bit more influence in what you were learning in your life? Yes or no, church? Yes. What you love, that's how you live. How you live, that's what they learn. Be careful. We're living in a day and age today. I want you to know the confusion of the next generation. This was a quote I heard this week. I loved it. The confusion of the next generation. Look how screwed up and mad this world is today. The confusion of the next generation is a direct result of the silence of the current generation. The confusion of the next generation is a result of the silence of the current generation. If my generation is screwed up, imagine how bad the next one's going to be if moms and dads and churches don't stand up, not say a whole bunch of thou shalt and thou shalt nots, start loving Jesus, living for Jesus, and letting our kids learn how to live for Jesus by watching our lives. Teach them. Teach them. Don't cross your fingers and close your eyes and hope it all works out for the good. Children don't just hear your words, they mirror your life. Your life, the one they're watching, is the loudest testimony they're going to hear in their life today. And number 3, I'm done. We're out of here. What you love is how you live. How you live is what they learn. And what they learn becomes your legacy. What your kids learn, the people that were under your impact and your influence, it becomes what you are remembered for. I'll show you a picture of something that pops up here on the screen for just a moment. If God tarries his coming long enough, each and every one of us will face a decision like this tombstone. You're like, preacher, what's the name on it? The name's not the most important part. You're like, they were born January 1st, 1968, passed away in 2049. It sounds like a pretty successful life. I've heard this illustration many, many times. Do you know what the most important part of this tombstone is? That little bitty dash between the 8 in 68 and the F in February. That little bitty 2-inch dash represented 70 or 80 years of a life that was lived. That little dash represented what their loves were, what their passions were. That little dash represented a small opportunity to really pour something into their kids that make them a person of honesty and integrity, to make them a person of morality and values, to teach them how to have hope and faith in Jesus Christ. That dash is all the effort you get to make a lasting impact from generation to generation. And the Bible said, listen, the things you've learned today in your heart, pour them into your kids. Pour them into your kids. When they go to bed, be pouring. When they wake up, be pouring. Keep teaching your children the things that you've got in your heart, because there's a day coming, if Jesus tarries is coming, we won't be here. And our kids get to live in the shadow we've left behind. Some of you are worried about leaving your kids money. Money will blow. Some of you are worried about leaving your kids power, position, and prestige. It'll all pass. What won't is the reflection that you've left for them in their life. Listen to me, please. Your legacy is not what you leave to your children. Your legacy is what will be that you left in your children. It's important for you to understand today that Proverbs 22:6 tells us this, and this is what's written on the bottom of every one of your certificates. Train up a child in the way they should go. What's that mean? Teach them the things in your heart. Teach them, lead them great. They don't want to hear your priorities. They don't want to hear another rule from somebody else in a position of authority of their life. They want to watch your patterns. They want to watch the decisions you make and the way you handle things in your life. So teach these children in the way that they should go. And when they are old, your kid may have a rebellious season. You did. Some of you heard the story of the prodigal, and you didn't realize until it was too late, you're the one that ran away from God. You're the one that had to come to your senses. You're the one that had to come back to God. And when you decided to get close to God again, there he was, arms wide open, ready to receive you right back to where, as if nothing had ever happened before. That's what happened to you. The Bible says we have to train a child the way they need to go, because if we pour it in, no matter what, there's going to be a season in their life. They're not going to be able to escape it. They can't depart from them. It may be later as a young adult. It may be when they get married. It may be when they hold that baby for the first time in their own heart and in their life. It may be after their children have graduated high school. But what was poured into them, they'll never be able to escape from it. That's Bible. Train a child now, they'll never escape it. Pour Jesus in now, they'll never forget him. Even if they don't grow up to live for him for a season. If they go to sow some wild oats, when they return, the Bible will prove to be true to you today. What your child sees in you today is who will show up in your child tomorrow. Church, I want you to listen to me, please, for just a second. Would you close your Bibles? Give me your attention. Give me your eyes. I want you to answer some questions just one-on-one between you, yourself, and Jesus today. What do you love? I know all these parents sitting down here in these first couple of rows, they're holding on to their loves. They're sitting beside their loves. What do you love? How do you show it? If you couldn't tell me what you love and all I could do is watch you, would I be able to see? Number 2, what are you modeling? If you live what you love and your kids are learning from how you live, what kind of model are you being to your children today? Let me ask a question. If I could give 5 people in this room right now, if I could go to Bentley? Yeah, there it is, buddy. If it said Bentley, I want you to watch these 5 people. They're the most godly people I know. I want you to watch these men. They love Jesus. I want you to watch these women. They're some of the strongest prayer warriors I've ever seen in my life. If I was going to name 5 of you sitting in this room today, would you be one of my 5? Would I say, hey, You see that guy over there with the red hair and glasses? His name's Caleb. Watch him. That's a godly young man. Would look over here and say, hey, you see Richard right there? He's lived a lot of his life right there. He's got a lot of experience. There's a lot of wisdom. You can see it on the top of his head. You can see it in some of the wrinkles on his faces. That man right there, godly man. Watch him. If I turned around, would I be able to say, hey, there's Lisa back there in the back. Boy, she's been through a whole lot of storms. God's delivered her and brought her back, heals her, restores her. He's replenishing her right now. You watch her. That's a godly woman. Would you be one of my top fives? If I said, that's the model of who you need to be like. Hey, mom and dad, would I tell your kid they should be watching you? What are you modeling? How do you show what you love? Where are you leading your family? Closer to the cross, parallel with the cross, or come on, let's be honest, away. Heads are bowed, eyes are closed, no one looking around. I guess I'll finish the sermon where I started it. What are you leaving behind? Are you leaving something worth leaving? Let me ask you 3 questions. How many people sitting in this room today, you heard this sermon, you love what you live. What you love is how you live. How you live is what your kids are learning. What they're learning is what your legacy is going to be. How many of you heard that sermon today and say, preacher, God told me I better be a better example. I do love my kids. I love my family. No matter what age, what season of life they're in, God told me today, I need to step up a little bit. I've got to be a better example for them. I've been given a lot of responsibility. Preacher, can you pray for me? I just need to do better. If that's you this morning, would you just hold your hand up high? Hold it up high. God told me today, hey, I'm talking to you. You got to do better. You got to do better. Your kids are watching you. Young adults are watching you. You got to do better. All right, you can put your hands down all over the room. All over the room. You can put your hands down. Next, how many of you need to start leaving something better behind? You've got a past, you've got a reputation, you've got a history you hope your kids never have to live. There are scars on you hope you can protect them from. There are things you've been through you hope that the loved ones surrounding you. Listen to me, parents. I told you today, whether you're one of the parents of the people who dedicated the kid today or a member of this church or a member of the family of God, there's not a person in this room that is absolved of the responsibility of what I've preached today. How many of us in this room today would be like, yes, there are things I've done in my life. If I could help the people I love and care about avoid them, then that's what I want to do. I need to leave a better legacy. How many of you right now would say, preacher, pray for me. I got to do better than what I was shown. Can I see your hand? Would you hold it up high? I got to be a better example than the examples I had. I got to do a better job leaving a legacy behind for me. Okay, good. You can put your hands down. In just a minute, you get a chance to come have a conversation with Jesus. It's church. It's where people pray. No guilt, no shame. How many people in this room today would say, you know what? You said something earlier, and it's true. You can't teach people how to love Jesus if you don't possess Jesus yourself. I still have some family members that are lost. I have people who don't know Jesus. I have some friends today. They're close to me. They don't know Jesus. Maybe you're sitting in this room today. You yourself would be honest enough just to say, I don't know Jesus. How many people sitting in this room would say, preacher, I'm still praying for somebody that needs God today? Could I see your hand one last time? Would you hold it up? It could be for yourself. It could be for a friend. It could be for a family member. I know somebody today who needs Jesus. Good, church. You can put your hands down. That is a ton of hands. Now what are we going to do with it? Just sit in church and have another Sunday where we admitted some stuff? Or are we going to try to make some changes? Are we going to have some conversations with God where we're like, Lord, you know what? I'm going to make a commitment today. I heard the Bible. I'm going to change some things in my heart. I'm going to change the direction in my household. I'm going to teach kids something worth learning. I'm going to leave something worth leaving. I'm going to make this commitment to God today. Are you ready to do that? Let's stand to our feet this morning, can we? Every man and woman, boy and girl, if your body will let you do it, from the front row to the back of the balcony, would you stand right there in your seat? Once you get good and stood up, I want you to close your eyes, bow your head, because it's none of your business if anybody else moves. If you raised your hand today and said, I got to do better. If you raised your hand today and said, I got to change the direction of my legacy. If you raised your hand today and say, I know somebody lost who needs Jesus right now, right here, in this place this morning, then I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to ask everybody in this room who needs to have a conversation with the Lord, just come find you a spot somewhere across the front of this church. You can go over there in that corner. You can kneel at any one of these stairs. You can stand here if you want to. Just come find you a spot to have a conversation with Jesus. If you raised your hand and said, preacher, I gotta, now's the time to do it. Would you come in 3, 2, 1?